I'm Shirley Camp. Welcome to Mrs. Wage's Canning video series. Today we're going to be making salsa. And for that recipe you will need tomatoes, vinegar, and use 5% acetic acid vinegar, and 1 package of Mrs. Wage's salsa mix. You'll need to crush and peel the tomatoes and chop them prior to putting them into the saucepan to cook. At that time, you will add vinegar and 1 packet of Mrs. Wage's salsa mix. I'd like to remind you that the recipes for the salsa are available on the back of the package. I want to mix this all together and we'll bring it to a boil. One of the things I wanted to tell you today was that I get lots of questions online about adding things to our salsa mix. We don't recommend doing that because you change the acidity of the salsa to a point that it may be a little bit low acid and can cause foodborne illness. So if you want to add things like black beans and corn to the salsa, you need to do that when you open the jar and you're ready to eat it. While the salsa is cooking, we also have a kettle on the stove. This is a boiling water bath kettle. Have it filled with water and it should be brought to a boil so that you're ready to actually process the salsa once it's cooked and ready to go into the jars. Now that the salsa has been cooked for 10 minutes, we're ready to put it into the jars that are sterilized and hot and ready to go. Using a funnel so that we don't get any product onto the lid of the jar, we fill the jars and we leave a ½ inch of headspace. Headspace is necessary so that during the canning process, the product does not come over the tops of the jar. Once you have the jars filled, wipe the rims of the jars with a paper towel to remove any product that's gotten onto the top of the jar and make sure that you have a good fill. I see we need to add a little bit more to one of the jars. And again, we'll wipe the rim, get any excess food off of the jar. Check and see if there are any bubbles in the jar, and you can use a bubble remover to check and make sure that there aren't any bubbles that will prevent the food from canning properly. The next step is to add the lids to the jars. And this magnetic lifter helps prevent your hands from being burned. So we want to add those to the jars and then add the rings. And some people tend to put the rings on extremely tight, and we do suggest only putting them on finger tight so that there's still some room for air to move in the jar and allow it to escape from the jar. The boiling water bath canner is boiling. We're going to put the jar rack in the canner. Remember to always use a rack when you're canning any product to keep the jars from sitting on the bottom of the canner. When you place the jars in the canner, they should not be touching. And we'll lower the rack into the canner. The water should cover the jars by at least 1 inch. Add the lid. And when the canner returns to a boil, process it for 40 minutes. Once the jars have been processing for 40 minutes, we need to take them out of the canner, and to do that we use a jar lifter. Remove the jars carefully from the canner and set them on a wire rack to cool. Should let them cool for 24 hours and then check the seals to make sure they've sealed. And once they've sealed, you can store them for up to a year and enjoy salsa all year long. So enjoy salsa. Thank you for watching Mrs. Wages' video. For more information, go to the Mrs. Wages website at mrswages.com. Thank you for watching.